I recently shared on LinkedIn an article by Alistair Parvin on how to fix procurement. The article discussed several ideas, but one that particularly resonated with me was about flipping the tendering process. This really caused me to think that this may be a solution to several issues we often face in the procurement community. Let me elaborate further with some of my thoughts on how this could be applied. A common criticism of procurement as a function is that it is too often focused on price of the good or service at the cost of other social and economic value factors. This criticism is also true of procurement tools such as e-auctions, where price is often seen as the determining factor, albeit these tools do allow non-price factors to be included in the decision-making process. Even more conventional tendering and bidding scenarios, we often see that price is often weighted on average between 40 and 60% of the overall decision-making criteria. A heavy focus on price will drive value. However, this is not always the case, and we have seen often that companies bid low and the eventual outturn costs far outstrip the original bid amount. The concept being that if you want the best value, you need market competition, and if you want market competition, you need some system of bidding. This has always been true and will remain true, but the objective must be to secure the specified quality at the best overall value in any procurement exercise, whether that exercise be it large or small. Procurement rules often mean that above a certain threshold, a tender must be put out, looking normally for at least 3 bids based on price and quality. The traditional contracting mindset is that you invite bids on price from different suppliers in order to let the market find the price point. The buyer then selects on the basis of a price and quality question combination. The trouble is with that is that it creates a strong incentive for suppliers to bid low to win the job, then immediately engage in a race to the bottom on quality or perhaps supply chain resilience. Often the money saved by getting suppliers to bid low turns out to be a false saving and ends up costing far more in the long run, with social and economic value offers left along the wayside. Perhaps the time has come to think about this differently to drive better value through procurement and move away from being too focused on price. In many situations, it is possible for the procurement team using shared data, networking, and cost analysis to predict what the price point should be and what the organisation can viably afford for it to be based on the budget that is available. What would happen if we inverted the bidding model? This might not be suitable for every spend scenario, but might apply to many key areas of strategic spend. So what if, instead of getting suppliers to bid on price, procurement were to fix the price across all potential suppliers, but then invite them to outbid each other, not on price, but on other quality and performance criteria? These criteria will be set by the buying organisation based on their strategic importance, for example, contingency and supply chain resilience, perhaps performance, for example, faster turnaround of voids in relation to property repairs, or social or economic value importance, for example, the creation of apprenticeships, or perhaps using local supply chains, or perhaps even a combination of all these criteria. An alternate approach might be to allow the bidding organisation to innovate their various offerings within their bid response, which might encourage innovation or wider collaboration. Procurement would then award on the basis of which firm or firms could add greatest value to the buying organisation. Of course, transparency around the criteria for selection would still need to be developed and observed. In effect, this approach would trigger a race to the top on both quality and performance, and perhaps other social and economic value outcomes. Procurement would say, this is what we will pay for this specification of good or service. Tell us what you can offer us over and above to win our business. Of course, if no supplier stepped forward at the price point originally set by procurement, then the price would have to be raised until a sufficient number of companies offer their services at the new price point. This entire process could even be managed through a similar procurement tool such as the technology used for e-auctions, the difference being that non-price factors predominating the award criteria. So with some modification, the procurement tools are possibly in place to support such an approach and make implementation far easier. This approach does provide a challenge to procurement. It needs procurement to change its mindset. Greater emphasis needs to be put into creating a robust specification, more in-depth pre-procurement analysis, pre-selection and validation of firms being allowed to bid, and crucially, a more thorough understanding of costs and their drivers in order to set a realistic and attractive market price point. This approach will also act as a further driver for a more robust approach to effectively managing the contract, as the organisation will need to ensure that a contract management plan is in place to make sure that the value added offerings proposed in the bid are actually realised and delivered to the timescales. The benefits, however, should translate into more sustainable pricing and, critically, creation of value drivers that are socially and economically important to the buying organisation. This approach would adopt better adoption of better contract and supplier management, which is so often weak in many sectors, and also it will shift the argument away from procurement being too focused on price. So what next? I would be interested in hearing any comments that you may have on this concept and whether this would be something that your organisation might adopt as a procurement policy. My contact details are david@spendsolutions.co.uk, or alternatively call me on my mobile, which is 07966 599 620. I look forward to hearing from you.